So I'm going to watch the correct Barracuda, which was from the Austin City Limits performance. It's supposed to be better audio, you told me in the comments from my video yesterday. You also told me that it's higher, that she sings higher or does it in a higher key, and that her vocals were better. Her overall vocal performance was better. You said that the one I reacted to yesterday was just a dress rehearsal. So this won't be a normal reaction. This one's just going to be a quick listen through. I'm going to stop and start on my first listen through. Normally, I like to listen all the way through first and get my first impression, then go back and break it down. But since I just did this yesterday, I just want to compare it to my take on yesterday's performance for you all. So here we go. Let's jump right in. Let's check the key. Ann Wilson did it in E minor with heart, and Chappell Roan in her last performance of it did it in C sharp minor. Let's see. She's still in C sharp minor, so she's not doing it in a higher key for those of you that were thinking that she's doing it higher. The quality of this recording is a million times better. You're right. She's already getting better up into the upper register of her voice. She's registrating her voice and transitioning in a better way. She was letting go of the heaviness on the way up. Da, 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 da. You've got to do that. You've got to let the thickening go. She was jamming a little hard into her high notes on the performance I reacted to yesterday. She still took that breath in the middle of the word. Better. Good. You're right. She definitely transitioned into down much better on that high note. The performance I reacted to yesterday, she got stuck in gear 1 of her voice going up to that high note. This time she let go of the thickening of her tone enough that it released and got her up into gear 2 of her chest voice. I call gear 2 the upper chest contemporary register. It's a lot like your brassy, belty, normal chest voice, but it's just a little more thinned out. It still has that brassy element. It's not getting windy and fluty like a mix. It's still brassy, but just not as heavy. And she did a great transition up to that note right there. Let's see if we can grab that again. She still slammed a little hard into that note. That's problematic. She should be a little more, legato into those notes. When you start jamming your air pressure up into gear 2 of your voice, that's when it goes flat. That's when you crack. That's when you have bad control issues in your voice. She didn't overdrive it so much that she lost control of her voice, but that was happening a little bit in the performance I reacted to yesterday. Here. Did you hear that? That was an excellent release into gear 2 of her voice right there. Yeah, her voice sounds much more on point. She even sounds a little maybe vocally healthier a little bit too. Like her voice sounds super fresh in this performance. By the way, the porpoise line, apparently porpoise was the nickname Ann Wilson had for her sister. So that's where that came from. At least that's what I heard. Much better than the performance I reacted to yesterday. That was great. See, she was up in gear 2. She was up in that upper chest contemporary register. That's the money note range. That's the Celine Dion high note, the Whitney Houston high note range. She was up in there, and she held it longer. Did you notice that? And you could hear she held it a little longer that time. Why did she do that? Because she could, because it felt good, technically. If it didn't feel good technically, she would have gotten off of it quickly. So one of my criticisms before in the other performance was that like almost like roostering that she was doing up into her upper chest contemporary register. That's a problematic thing. But if you don't do it too much, you won't have a problem. And it's just this idea. This is the basic vocal concept. Your vocal folds have this reflex where when you punch them hard with air pressure, they don't just relax and give out unless you do it at the extreme amount. What they do, though, if you do it at sort of a medium, even medium to high level of jamming into the voice, the vocal folds will brace. They thicken and push back against you. So when you go da-da-da, and you jam into a high note, what it does usually is it causes the vocal folds to not let you get all the way up to that note. It's very paradoxical. It's almost like this idea of the more you push, the less you get up to the note. It's like the finger cuffs, the more you pull, the tighter they get. It's the same idea with your voice. And when you do da-da-da-ba, and you do that like jamming up into the high note, it causes you to not usually get to the high note as well. She's doing that a little bit here, but not so much that she loses her access to the note. She was doing that a teeny bit in her last performance I reacted to yesterday, but not here. She's corrected it. And she probably didn't correct it consciously. She just was singing through it enough times, and her mind-body vocal technique just kind of figured out, wait, I better back off a little bit onto that. I doubt that she was sitting with a vocal technician or a coach like me and was like, well, you need to work on it. I highly doubt it. I bet she just figured it out in running it. Ma. So much better transitioning into her upper register in this one. All right, so definitely a better performance. The biggest issue I had with the last performance was just her transitioning up into her upper register, and I feel that was a lot better here. I still feel she could be mindful in the way that she powers and sort of squeezes into her upper chest contemporary register, but she didn't do it so much in this performance to where it caused issues in the transition. Very, very good. So that's my hot take. This is definitely a better recording. Definitely a more stable performance vocally from her. Definitely a better representation of the song. I love this song for her. It makes sense with where she is. She said that this is her favorite song right now. It makes sense with what she's going through. It's kind of like her personal life affecting her art and bringing what's happening in her real life into her art. That's what she's doing with this. So that was very good. If you didn't see my other reaction, go check that out. I go more thorough through the breakdown. I just wanted to give a little hot take on this one. You were right. This one was better on every level, from the audio to the vocal performance. So good job. Another video coming later today. Cheers.